Hello everyone, it's Lisa Turner here from Psycademy and welcome to this Facebook Live. I hope you're all doing really well. Let's see if there's anyone going to join me. It would be lovely to see you here. So today I'm just going to dive right in to our question that is from Tammy. So a couple of days ago I posted on our page saying, what questions do you have for my Facebook Live? And Tammy jumped up with a really great question. So let me just head on over to read it. So Tammy said, why are there breaks in my connections with my guides and angels? I'll be doing readings, then I lose all connections. I'll be doing praying, protections, groundings, meditations, however, blank for weeks at a time. Why? Drives me crazy. Now, Tammy, you would not be alone in having this issue and asking this question. Why do we get radio silence? So these are just some of the reasons. There are others, and they're a little bit more technically complex. But I'm going to give you the main one. So the main one I've just jotted down here are your state, your energy, your beliefs, and blocks. So those are the main four that I kind of channeled in just now. So let's look at your state. So what do I mean by your state? So your state is your emotional state at any particular time. And what a lot of people think of when they're doing, trying to connect to their guides, trying to connect to angels, connect to source, is the first thing they have is this. So they kind of have this idea that they just have to sit around and wait for their guides to show up. And in truth, when you get into the right state, and that state is normally a meditative light trance state, where you are totally focused and present in the moment, all extraneous information that's going on just disappears. And when you are totally in control and master that state, what that means is when you're in control of that state, then you can connect. You don't have to sit there going, oh, if today will be the day. You know, it's like if you wanted a friend to come and visit you, would you just sit and wait around? And, you know, if it was, let's rephrase that. If you wanted to see a friend, would you just sit there silently going, oh, I hope she calls today. Well, it'd be really nice if they showed up. Or would you just like maybe pick up the phone and go, hey, Mary, Jenny, Bill, how you doing? You want to meet up? That reminds me, must call somebody. You know, would you do that? Yes, you probably would. And so the state that you're in really governs so when you're in this open, receptive, and it is quite a calm and quite a trancey state, and you need to master that state and learn how to get into it at will. Okay, I shall have thought of another one. Now, one of the things, which is emotions. Now, emotions, particularly negative emotions, are what stops you getting into and staying in that state. So then what you need to do is you need to learn how to release. So you need to learn how to release negative emotions from the past. Now, that doesn't mean you never feel emotions, and certainly you do. And it doesn't mean you never feel negative emotions, certainly you do. But the idea is, and here's a question to ask yourself. Do you have memories from the past, which as you think about them now, cause you to feel a negative emotion? Because if you do, then you have negative emotions from the past, and they can come in and influence your state, that emotional state that will stop you experiencing a connection to your guides. So that's the first. So the first is state, and the second is emotions, and that's one of the things that stops you getting into that state. The next is your energy. And the way I think about it is this. It's like a lot of people talk about this very vague, nebulous term of, I need to raise my vibration. Well, I've done a lot of research into vibration. In fact, I have a PhD in acoustics, which is essentially a vibration. It's vibrations. I've done lots of hard sums about acoustic waves and wavelengths. And there are certain things about energy and our vibration that I've discovered are really important that will enable you to connect. And it's not just about raising your vibration, because I don't even know what that means. Because it could be, do we raise the frequency? Do we raise the amplitude? And those are two things that are really key. Or do we increase the wavelength? Because you could say raise your vibration, increase the wavelength. So there's three things that affect vibration. And any one of those could be referred to as raising it. So it could be increasing the frequency. You're a higher frequency versus a lower frequency. That's just an acoustic example there. Yes, I do silly voices. So there's the frequency, then there's the amplitude. So that's just how high and low the wave goes. And frequency is how fast, so the hertz, the resonant. And we do talk about this thing called resonance. Now, I think it's more to do with the frequency, and I actually think it's about creating within your being, within your neurology, and this is where it gets a little bit metaphysical, a little bit intangible, but within your being, creating the space where you've created a resonant field where you and source or your angels and guides vibrate as one. Now, sometimes people learn how to do this, they figure it out, and it can be very hit and miss, and it can be a very long and painful process to figure this out, which is why at Psycademy what we do is we initiate people. And what that does is that creates within their neurology this resonant field so that when they get into the right state, they just tap into that resonant field and boom, they're at one with their guides. Boom, that's it. So that's energy, so vibrational energy. Then we have beliefs. Now, if you have a belief that, for example, and this is one of the common beliefs, and it's kind of phrased in the question. So the way this question is often asked is, how do I connect, and why do I not connect sometimes, and why are there breaks in my connection, and why am I disconnected? Now, if you think about what that presupposes, that question, how do I, Lisa, connect to my guides? Did you get that? Did you get the sense? Oh, don't worry, I'll explain it to you. What we're saying here is that I am Lisa and I am separate to my guides. I am not my guides. I am not source. I'm separate. And as soon as you have this as a belief that I am not my guides, I am not source, then you have this, oh, then I need to connect. I'm over here and they're over there and I got to somehow vaguely figure out how to connect with them. Well, again, this comes back to this resonant field and initiation. So what we do is when we initiate someone into a high level guide, what we do is we create within you the ability to have that resonant field where you resonate as one with your guide / source. We actually do that here in Psycademy so that there is no sense of separation. So the question isn't, how do I connect? The question becomes just, how do I turn on that resonant field? And that's with emotions and energy and state. Okay. So there are also other limiting beliefs that you can have. And the limiting beliefs might be things like, so limiting beliefs in general will cause you to find it less easy to connect to your guides. So one of the limiting beliefs that really common is stuff around I need protection and this fear that somehow your guides are something to be afraid of, or a belief that you're somehow less than your guides, or that you've got to beg and hope and wish and pray. And, you know, that was in Tammy's question, you know, I'm doing my, what did she say? I'm praying, I'm doing my protections and groundings and meditations, nothing, right? So in there, probably, Tammy, if I may suggest, it sounds a little bit to me like you may have some kind of a limiting belief around that you're not as good as or as worthy as your guides, and that you're kind of got to hope for them to show up. And when you have this resonant field thing set up, that you've had this initiation, when you have that set up in your neurology, then what happens is you know that you are at one or can be at one with your guides at any time. So there isn't this sense of separation, which is partly a belief, but there isn't this sense or this belief of not being as good as, or not even the same as, because you, in that moment, you are your guides. Now, the whole ton of other limiting beliefs, like I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, it's hard, I wasn't born with a gift, that's a good one. A lot of people think, oh, you know, I don't come from the seventh child of a line of Wiccans, and, you know, my mother or father wasn't a whatever initiated shaman. That is frankly all bullshit. That idea that you need to be born into it, not the case. You just need to choose it. You need to, and you do need to learn it. You can learn it like a skill. It's a bit like saying, well, you know what, I can't play the piano. Do you know what? I cannot play the piano, right? Maybe just because I didn't come from a long line of musicians. Do you know why I can't play the piano? I never had a piano lesson. I don't own a piano, and I never play the piano. And if I probably sat down and played the piano, I'd probably get a bit better at it. So it is about learning and getting the right teaching and developing the skills. So that's beliefs. Now this next one comes into, we talk about is blocks. Now blocks can take the form of beliefs, limiting beliefs, and some of these beliefs are completely unconscious, but it can also take the form of some kind of a disruption in your neurology. And that's one of the things we do on our trainings, like our spiritual practitioner, pretty much all of our trainings have this to some level, where we'll assist you to identify where your neurology isn't fully wired up in a way that's going to enable the creation of that resonant field. When we remove that, when we remove those blocks, that resonant field in your neurology becomes possible and easy. Then you experience your initiation, and then boom, there isn't this sense of ever being disconnected, because you are your guides and your guides are you. So hope that has answered your question. I hope that's, kind of thrown some light on this whole idea of connection to guides. So to recap, getting into that meditative state, that trance-like state where everything else disappears, and tapping into that resonant field. Energy, being able to access the energy of that resonant field, raising your vibration. By the way, if you have any questions, pop them in the little chat thing. I can see Christy's here, Yena's here. Lovely to see you, or not see you, but see your names anyway. So yeah, if you've got any questions, let us know. So the energy, creating that resonant field. Then we talked about beliefs. Do you have limiting beliefs? And including the belief that you and your guide are separate, that your guide is over there and you're here, and that there's some sort of separation, and blocks in your neurology. So let's just see, any questions? Anyone want to know anything else while I'm here on our live before I go and have my lunch? And then a bike ride, I think. Give you a moment. That's okay. If you're shy, maybe you're all shy, you can post for the next one. Alrighty, well, as I can't see your questions, any questions coming in, maybe I just can't see them. Post them later. Alexandra says, how are you? I am really well. I'm really well, thank you. Really super well. And I hope you are too. Okay, so no other questions. So if you do have any questions, post them either here on the page and I will answer them in a future Facebook Live. So till next time with our next questions, I will see you then. Lots and lots of love to you. Hope you're all fabulous. So, Ains asked a question. How do you open your third eye? Do you know what? I'm going to do a whole Facebook Live on this. So one of the ways you can open, so lots and lots of ways. There are meditations, and we actually have a whole webinar. I'm going to post a link to it. We have a whole webinar where we take you through all the steps. It's completely free. Take you through all the steps where you can open your third eye. And we actually take you through a process. We actually guide you through that. It's like a little mini initiation. I'll post the link to that training. It's completely free. I'll post that in the comments for you. And yeah, maybe I'll do it, because it's like opening a third eye. That's like a half an hour training, but I would love to share that with you. So essentially, it's not dissimilar. Just to give you some brief, some starters. It's not dissimilar to what we've already said. It's about releasing, about your state, about releasing limiting beliefs and negative emotions that we talked about your energy, and about an initiation to create that. So yeah, so Ames says thank you. Yes, I will post that for you. Alrighty, so lots and lots of love. Until next time, I will see you then. Keep your questions coming. Lots of love. Bye for now, everyone. Bye.